That's a ridiculous question.
It's not. So answer it then. If it's so ridiculous,
does the UN bear? I mean, does the UN bear responsibility for the casualties?
For your own
does
organization.
The UN bear? Have you asked the UN? Have you asked Doctors Without Borders if they bear any responsibility?
The question that is being put to you right now.
What's up, y'all? It's your man World back with another one. Krystal Ball put on a master class on how to interview people. In this case, it was with the Gaza quote-unquote Humanitarian Foundation spokesperson Chapin Fay. And as you can imagine, the humanitarian part of that foundation is named almost ironically, like Orwellian war is peace doublespeak. But Mr. Fay here tries everything to try to dodge and dip and dive away from these questions, but he simply cannot. This was about an hour-long interview, so we're only going to show this highlight, and then we're going to show one from Ryan Grimm as well. Let's watch these clips, and I'll give my thoughts on it afterwards.
Because it's such a crucial issue. I know you don't trust the Gaza Health Ministry because you say they're Hamas-run organization. You don't trust Nasser Hospital. You don't trust Doctors Without Borders. You don't trust the doctors we've spoken with. Maybe you trust the IDF because IDF soldiers spoke with Haaretz. We could put D8 up on the screen and described the transit to and from your sites as, quote, a killing field. The headline here is IDF soldiers ordered to shoot deliberately at unarmed Gazans waiting for humanitarian aid. Where I was stationed, between 1 and 5 people were killed every day. They're treated like a hostile force, no crowd control measures, no tear gas, just live fire with everything imaginable. Heavy machine guns, grenade launchers, mortars. Then once the center opens, the shooting stops and they know they can approach. Our form of communication is gunfire. So I ask you once again, does GHF bear any responsibility for the mass killings that doctors, Palestinians, journalists, and IDF soldiers are attesting to happen outside of your sites when aid seekers are going to and from your distributions?
Well, I hate to be a one-trick pony first, but Haaretz is one of the outlets that publishes where people are staying for no other reason than to
So you deny the veracity of IDF soldiers?
No, it's not what I said.
To what they experienced while they were in the Gaza Strip.
I'm happy to answer your question. Like I said, we push every day for the IDF to deconflict and to do things in a safer and more secure manner.
All right. Well, let's say hypothetically you accept this report. Do you bear any responsibility? You're not answering the question. Let's say you accept this report and you don't think that everything is enough.
Responsibility for the casualties near their convoys? Do you bear responsibility for any of the massacres that are happening routinely as people attempt to access the aid at your site, which is why many Palestinians call them, and the Financial Times and other outlets, a quote-unquote death trap? So the 10,000 Palestinians who come every day to our sites, more than 10,000, it's 10,000 at one site, disagree. They don't.
Well, they don't want to. It's either starve.
They don't want to starve to death.
First of all, I'm not going to comment on numbers that come from one of the combatants, which is run by a terrorist organization. I'm not here to say there are no casualties.
IDF?
What you're telling me?
Are you calling the IDF a terrorist?
No. The Gaza Ministry of Health, right? And certainly
which is jointly
IDF,
run by the Palestinian Authority, by the way.
Great. I mean, these numbers are hard to verify. No, I understand. These numbers are hard to verify, and it's a war zone. And what you're telling me is we are problematic because there are casualties happening outside our sites. Is the UN problematic because there are casualties happening?
As a routine part of the process. That's what is being attested to by IDF soldiers, Chapin. They say it's a killing field. Right. No crowd control measures, no tear gas, just live fire with everything imaginable. Heavy machine guns, grenade launchers, mortars. That's what's happening. I mean, listen, we can play you an endless amount of videos of what this sounds like and looks like.
But if they're launching grenades at a crowd, we would be well over the casualties you're trying to tag the GHF with. I mean, so just interrogate some of these statistics. Right, over 3 months. And again,
it may well be an undercount.
There are zero.
You're right, Chapin. It might be an undercount.
It may. And did you tell the United Nations they should stop operating because there are casualties on the way to their convoys or when their truck runs over an aid seeker that is
You're dodging the question.
Social media?
So is your answer effectively?
I don't speak for the IDF. I don't speak for the IDF. We've had no casualties.
Let me encapsulate. Your response is no. We bear no responsibility. What happens outside of our sites?
is none of our business. And if IDF is massacring aid seekers who are transiting through the desert to our site,
you may not like my answer, but those are not the words that I used. I mean, those aren't the words.
But you're not answering my questions. So I'm trying to get you to actually respond.
I'm not denying that there are casualties. I'm not denying that there are casualties in this. You're going to have to ask the IDF. Do you bear any responsibility? We have killed no one. No one has died on our sites.
Do you bear any responsibility?
Now, it's not over, but I just want to make sure we focus on the idea that he tried everything. He blamed Haaretz, the newspaper. He blamed the UN. He blamed everyone to not answer the question. But Krystal Ball sunk her teeth in and made sure he had nowhere else to go.
That's a ridiculous question.
It's not. So answer it then. If it's so ridiculous,
does the UN bear? I mean, does the UN bear responsibility for the casualties?
For your own organization.
Have you asked the UN? Have you asked Dr. Zell if they bear any responsibility?
The question that is being put to you right now.
And let's
answer your question.
Okay, let's put up
this is a war zone. This is a dangerous operation.
So the answer is no. You bear no responsibility.
There are casualties in this war, and if they are civilians, that is tragic. And we push the IDF. And by the way, our job is to feed people. Period. And when any organization, including the IDF and the government of Israel, make that more difficult, we call them out publicly and voraciously. You can see it on our website. You can see it in our past statements. We wish the IDF.
I don't hear you doing it today.
In a safer way.
Well, let's
I don't speak for the IDF, and I don't dictate war tactics to the IDF. Well, you're going to have to jointly.
So now at the end of that there, he said, our job is to feed people. Feed people. That's his goal. That's his primary focus. That's the only reason he's there. Now when Ryan Grimm asked him about the actual amount of food that's let in and distributed to the people, Fay is gonna brag and throw out a big number that seems like a big number, 1,000 trucks in a month, oh my goodness, and it may be close to 1,100 trucks in one single month. Doesn't that sound like a lot? But Ryan Grimm is gonna perfectly question and be confused as to why he thinks that's a lot.
Just to add context to what Krystal's saying there, and you know the history there. On March 2nd, the Israeli government blocked all humanitarian and medical aid, food and medicine, into Gaza. That lasted for almost 2 months. Israel argued that the reason that they did that was that at these 400 distribution sites, Hamas was getting access to the food, and that was a problem for the Israeli war effort, and it was a problem for the Palestinian civilians inside Gaza. So they said, we're going to redesign it. So we're going to have only 4 aid sites that are many kilometers away from population centers. And they're going to be behind IDF lines so that Hamas cannot steal the aid. And so then they reopened aid through these 4 systems. So are you saying that your understanding from the Israeli government is that if the UN and other humanitarian aid organizations wanted to open up 400 aid sites tomorrow and get an influx of trucks in, that they would be able to do that, and that Israel is not standing in the way? Because famine was declared on August 22nd. Since then, there has been an average of 11 trucks a day allowed into Gaza. That's since the famine was declared. And so are you saying that what you have heard from Israeli authorities is that they would allow unimpeded aid and they would allow the humanitarian aid groups to open those 400 sites again?
What I'm telling you is in the month of August, the UN moved 1,100 trucks into Gaza. That's what I'm telling you.
And because the UN didn't want to deliver the trucks, or because Israel was blocking the trucks from entering and closing the distribution sites because they said Hamas was controlling these distribution sites?
The United Nations distributed and moved 1,100 trucks. I believe that's the number. I could be wrong exactly the number. It's over 1,000 trucks in the month of August. Went over the border and into Gaza.
Oh, are you saying that's a? You're saying that's a.
You can see it on the United Nations website. You can see it on the United Nations website.
There's 31 days in August. 600 minimum of 600 trucks a day is needed. So you're saying that they did less than 2 days worth of what's needed.
It is a good thing that trucks are moving in. It is a good thing that the airdrops are happening. We are concerned with the safety and security of it, but we believe more aid is the answer to many of the problems that we're talking about. When you mentioned the blockade of aid, when we were approved to go in, we were approved for 8 sites. The IDF only built us 4, so we are beholden to when and where because they're waging war. We pushed them every single day, including back then. We fought publicly, and you could see it publicly. We fought for the United Nations to also be allowed in. A letter was sent in August by over 200 international NGOs from over 15 countries urging people to work with us, right? This is a complex problem. We would love to work with the United Nations. We've had none of our aid diverted.
So
by their own metrics, they had 93.5% of the trucks, which again, we agree is not enough.
Ryan Grimm was like, what? Brother, family, relative, are you telling me that you're bragging about 1,000 trucks when 600 trucks a day are necessary? That's not even 2 days. What are you bragging about exactly? And this man, Chapin Fay, is the official spokesperson for that quote-unquote humanitarian foundation. That means talking to the public is his main job. It's his main job. Who knows how many times he's told somebody, we've let in 1,000 trucks a month. Isn't that a lot? Doesn't that sound like a lot? Doesn't that sound like we're doing something? Without any pushback. Good thing Ryan Grimm and Krystal Ball were on their A game. This is how all these type of interviews should go. Every politician, everybody surrounding the situation in Gaza, all of these people have to be treated as hostile witnesses because that's what they are, hostile. But let me know what you think about all this in the comment section below. Do you think that Krystal Ball and Breaking Points are going to continue to have guests since they're building a reputation of being aggressive interviewers? Let me know in the comment section. Peace.